We got this. I always think that I have this, and then we start recording, and then I'm like, I
don't know where everything went.
And literally, it was in my head, and then now it's gone. And welcome to Mental Health Mondays, where we discuss advocacy, resources, and ending the stigma associated with mental health. I am your host, peer recovery supporter, Amanda. Today we are going to be discussing Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, which is a chronic condition. There's actually 3 separate types of ADHD. There is ADHD-I, or ADHD inattentive type, which is formerly known as ADD. There's also ADHD-H, which is ADHD hyperactive type, and ADHD-C, which is a combined of the two. ADHD-I is usually characterized as things like difficulties regulating attention and focus. ADHD-I is often diagnosed more likely in adults. You see it a lot less in childhood, but it is still present in childhood. It just presents itself more in adulthood. This looks like listening difficulties, more likely to have internalizing disorders like anxiety and depression, difficulty regulating attention and focus. Individuals often struggle with things like distractibility, overlooking details, forgetfulness, and losing objects. And then if you look at ADHD-H, that looks a lot like impulsivity, fidgety and restlessness, often completing people's sentences, difficulty waiting turns, often on the go and has difficulty resting. This one is more common amongst males, and it's often diagnosed early in childhood. And so this is oftentimes why ADHD is really difficult to diagnose in some children, because they may present as different than hyperactivity, which is what a lot of people think that ADHD looks like. Now, some individuals who struggle with ADHD may have a little bit of both of these symptoms, which is why it can make it so difficult to get diagnosed as an adult, because sometimes it can just look like you're lazy or inattentive or can't do the thing, when in reality you actually have ADHD that maybe somebody didn't diagnose you with as a child because it didn't look like hyperactivity. Now, you can look more into each specific subset of ADHD by going to the link we have down in the comments if you'd like to learn more about each one. Across all subtypes in ADHD, you will see similarities like executive dysfunction, auditory processing, sensory processing, and working memory impacted, self-esteem impacted, and sleep issues. Now, there are some key differences with ADHD subtypes. Things like processing speed, age of onset and diagnosis, and impairment differences. This is why it's so important to talk to a mental health care professional and lean on your care team in order to make sure that you're finding the right diagnosis for you. Now, ADHD is complex. There is a lot of fluidity between the 3 subsets that happens. Sometimes things manifest in childhood that then change in adulthood with ADHD. Sometimes ADHD can be comorbid with other things like autism or PTSD or other diagnosis. And individuals who struggle with ADHD really sometimes struggle with friendships and interpersonal relationships. That's why it's so important, if you have somebody in your life that struggles with ADHD, you learn about it, educate yourself, and learn how their struggles in life affect their interpersonal relationships. Because sometimes things like replying to a text message or making plans to hang out or showing up on time can be really extremely difficult for individuals who struggle with ADHD. Sometimes individuals with ADHD know you're there, they want to reach out to you, they want to reply to that text message, but they just can't. Their executive dysfunction will not allow them to. So be patient with the individuals in your life that are struggling with ADHD, lend a hand, and make sure you research about the people around you so you can learn more about what they're going through. And as always, if you think that ADHD is something that you struggle with, please reach out to your care team, look at the article we have linked below, look at all of the wonderful resources on the website that we provided for you, and join us next time as we learn more about other diagnoses and mental health topics. Thanks for joining us on Mental Health Monday, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Today we will be Okay.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
Okay. Today we will be